Peter Del Penna here with Player of the Match, Brandon McMullen, who scored 151, a career best in a victory over USA by 71 runs here in the Cricket World Cup League 2 ODI Series in Texas. Congratulations first off on the win and also the personal milestone. You looked like you were just coasting along for much of that innings. It looked like you could explode at any moment, but you were clearly in control and containing yourself. At what point did you feel you needed to start to unleash yourself?
I think it was quite difficult up top, batting with Charlie Tier. We had to build a partnership, and we kind of decided to make sure one of us bats deep into the 50 over innings. It was probably around maybe after drinks, I kind of tried to up the rate and be a little bit more positive. Looked to take down the spinners as they were kind of bogging us down a little bit. So that was kind of the turning point for me as a mindset change after that first drinks break. When the spinners were on, trying to be a little bit more positive.
Yeah, you went through a 7-over stretch there. You're talking about after drinks where you didn't score any boundaries, and then Charlie Tier got out. And then shortly after that is when you started to open up with Richie Barrington at the crease with you. You had a 16-run over against Nastish Kenjige. That was his final over, is when you really looked like you started to attack. Did you have it in the back of your mind at all in terms of what happened in the USA A match where you scored 340 and it still wasn't enough, and were you concerned at all at any stage that you maybe waited too long or that 317 wasn't going to be enough?
I think the powerhouse that we have sitting on the bench waiting to bat is crazy. It's like Michael Lease coming in to score 33 off 11 balls is pretty ridiculous. So the back of the head, there's always guys that can come in and be match winners. Didn't really panic at all. Was thinking the USA game didn't really pop into mind. Just we knew we had to be clinical with the ball because the wicket really flattened out. And as we've seen with that USA A game first round, it was really flat to bat second inning. So we knew we had to get a good total on the board, and I think that 300 mark was always the barrier for us at the minute to try and get over that mark.
And you scored 106 off the last 8 entirely against pace. Traditionally, obviously most people expect pace to come on at the death, but considering the way that it was difficult to score against spin in the middle overs, were you surprised at all that USA didn't bowl more overs of spin?
I am a little bit surprised, to be honest. The spin was really tying us down, and it was quite difficult to score, as you said. So I was a little bit surprised that they went with all-out pace the last 10 overs. It gave us a bit of a added element to the game because our fast outfield wicket was a bit flatter, and using the pace was a lot easier than the spinners. So I expected the spin to actually bowl in those late 40 overs to try and change it up.
Then in the fields, USA was pretty much ahead of your scoring rate throughout the majority of their chase, but the problem for USA was that you guys were taking wickets at the same time. As a bowler, for you, what made bowling on this pitch challenging?
I just think it was a really good batting wicket in the second innings. The wicket kind of got a bit tired. Didn't have as much purchase as it has had the previous 2 games. Being on a fresh wicket, obviously we played on a used one today, so that was probably the most challenging part of it, was that you get value for your shots here. So if you bowl a bad ball, you probably get punished. But I thought Jack Jarvis was outstanding with his 4-wicket haul. I thought he was clinical with his lengths and just bashed that wicket, and it came off for him today.
You mentioned Jack Jarvis with his 4 wickets. I want to talk about the first wicket that he got of Monank Patel. That was in the 24th over. Again, USA was with a pretty solid run rate at the time. Captain was on 52 and got him driving to extra cover to Richie Barrington. What was it about the setup of that plan that allowed that to come off as well as it did?
I think the fully backing Jack as a bowler. I think all of us as a team were backing him to get the wicket. He's a bit of a game changer with his bowling. He adds a bit of different element compared to some of us seamers are quite samey, I guess. Just bowl generally away swingers, and he's kind of got a bit of a different action, different style of bowling, and that's kind of what paid off, was just to be really boring and really patient. And thankfully, Richie grabbed the good catch.
And then you came on in your second spell. You bowled 5 overs with the new ball, but biggest moment of the day arguably was when you came back just after drinks. Sanjay Krishnamurthy was on 49. He was building a 75-run partnership with Utkarsh Srivastava, and you came on, and it looked like it was a cutter that you got him with. He seemed like he stopped his shot. He was going to go with a full cut shot, and then it was almost like he got fooled and stopped halfway, and then it just lobbed up for a very easy catch from Michael Lease. Take us through that wicket.
I think you're giving me a little bit more credit than I deserve. It was a bit of a loosener. I'm not going to lie, I ran in and it just came out a little bit slower and a bit tighter than I would have expected. So I think he was done by me just being a little bit tight and not as loose as I would like to be. But it was a great catch from Leeski. He had a bit of a juggle and stuff like that. So I think thankfully he kept his hands on it.
Being humble, you're supposed to say it was all part of the plan. It was just the way I meant to do it. Yeah. And then also another significant moment. Harmeet Singh, you scored a half century, a very quick half century off 35 balls in the previous match against Nepal to help USA get over the line in a very tight chase. He's out there with Srivastava, who's into the 50s at that point, and then you come off, Michael Lease comes on, and within a couple balls he's charging down the wicket, stumped. Take us through, first off, the strategy, because again, you had just taken a wicket, yet Richie Barrington decided to make a change, and it obviously paid off.
I think the key thing in games like this, when the wicket's good, chopping and changing bowling is very important, and that was a vital moment in the game as well, because Harmeet is obviously a very good finisher in his own right. So I think even though I got the wicket, I still wasn't quite being as effective as potentially what Leeski was going to be, especially to a left-hander. Off spinner to left-hander is a great matchup. So that was another big one. It's a good matchup, and thankfully he ran down and missed one across. He took the stumps off.
I know you haven't been part of previous tours or previous assignments against USA historically. You weren't here in 2022 when the team toured Texas the last time, but historically, even though Scotland has always been ranked higher than USA, USA has had a good record against Scotland, whether it's in T20 World Cup qualifiers going back to 2010 or 2012 in the UAE, or again in recent times Scotland struggled a little bit in the previous cycle of Cricket World Cup Week 2. They had a loss in Aberdeen, a loss in the UAE, and then a loss here in Texas against USA. But you're in the squad now, and you sweep both matches here against USA. What do you think was the key to getting the sweep against USA on American soil, in the context of the fact that Scotland historically has not always had as much success despite their much superior ranking to USA?
I just think being real smart, coming here to a place we've never been before, new conditions. We always chat about being the fastest team to adapt to what we have in front of us, whether or not it's a flat wicket or it's a green seamer. So I think that was the biggest thing for us, not really worrying about what's happened in the past, in past games, is showing the belief that we have as a squad so we can win from any stage against any team, again, in any condition. So I think that was the biggest thing coming here and getting the clean sweep against the US, was just the belief factor and showing that we can beat anyone in any stage.
Anything else you want to say about today's performance?
I'm happy. I've had a lot of fun out there today, so it was my lucky day, I guess, and I got to take them when they come around.
There you have it, player of the match, Brandon McMullen, after Scotland went over USA. Thank you again.
Thank you.